This on. Hope it's working. Nearly forgot to turn the sound on. Dave here, how are you? I hope you're all well. Hope you've had a good week. And today is, let me see, the 18th of August. Slowly getting warmer for us, which is fantastic. Next thing we'll be complaining it's too hot. You guys in the Northern Hemisphere, I see you've still summer, cooking hot, and then some people are getting snow. Weird place to live. All right, on the show today, and I don't even think I've brought the run sheet down. Unlucky, I'll try and do it from memory. We're going to have a look at self-centering drill bits and this cheap set that I got, and it's these guys here. There's a heap of them. There was a little tweak that I've done, and it's a dead easy one. I'm going to show you that. I've had people talk about bandsaws and not being able to rip straight. Now, I've gone through all sorts of different things, but also one of the major things that I haven't told you about, I will explain. And if you don't do this at the beginning, you're not going to get a straight cut no matter what you do. All right, next thing. We're going to have a look at Arthur's bullnose plane, and I've nearly finished cleaning it. I'm just going to give the one face or one edge of the plane a quick buff on the Sorby Pro Edge. I'm going to pull the blade out and I'm going to run it over the Triton slow speed Waterstone and try and give it a bit of a clean up on the back, and then I might even try and touch up the bevel. We'll see what happens. I'll either use it on the Triton or else I'll throw it onto the Sorby, or if we run out of time I won't be doing any of that. The other thing, let me see what else. This is hard when I'm working. The winner of the Carbotech 3 saw giveaway, that's been drawn. I haven't got a competition this week. Now, also for people that were in New Zealand and were complaining a little bit about, being left out of the competition because there is a Carbotech store in New Zealand. I've had a chat with the guy who runs everything in Australia, and he seems to think it'll be okay in future if we include New Zealand. And I'm just waiting back from the guy who actually owns the store. It's a separate business. It's like a franchise. So I'm waiting for them to get back to me, and in future, going forwards, we shall do that. Now also, I have another thing that's happened as well. Carbotech have over-ordered on a particular machine. Now you might be able to get a very good deal and also possibly get the value of the machine back, one lucky person. So I'm in discussion with the guys at Carbotech. As I say, I work there one day a week, and it's handy for you guys because I can give you the inside running on what's happening, and also if something comes along that I think is a good deal, I'll let you know. Okay, everyone's having a good time down the side there. Good. Good news for NZers from Carbotech. Yes, there you go. Look, I heard you all crying, so I thought I'd better do something to pacify you. There you go. What else? A little bit of carving. I'm going to do a little bit more carving. Last week we put that paper, made that little paper template and glued it on. I'm going to give it a shot this week and try and carve it out. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about these guys here. Now these are what's called a self-centering drill bit. A lot of people will know these as VIX bits. Well, these are not a VIX bit. These are not the genuine thing, but they work very well. Now what happens is, I'll get one of the small ones. The small ones have a chamfer. Not all of them have a chamfer, but the small ones have a chamfer, and these are designed for if you've got a hinge and you want to get the screw dead center of the hole in the hinge. So what happens is the front of this drops into the hole, into the countersink, and aligns it so that when the drill comes down, it will drill a hole perfectly center of that countersink. It's a great idea, and it's something that's been going fantastic. So I put a link, shameless thing here, I put a link to Australia Amazon, and I was so impressed with these things I bought them myself. They don't throw these to me for free. I've still got to buy them. And when I got them, I found that they caught as you're sliding them down here. Now, Dr. Greg also said he bought a set a while back, and he said the spring was dodgy, and he ended up throwing them away. Now there is such an easy fix to it. So what you do is you undo it. So I'll show you a little bit around it as well at the same time. Now, there we go. We've got, what makes it up is a drill bit that has a flat side on it down the bottom. There's an Allen key here, or like, it's a, what do you call these screws or bolts? They're a internal hex drive, let's call it that. So they have that there, and it screws onto the flat. So you can take the drill bit out and get another drill bit if you want to, or get your own drill bit and grind a little bit of flat on it, drop it in, tighten it up, away you go. All of that part is fantastic. It is not a Centratec friendly mount. It's a quick change mount that's designed for 1/4 inch. It's not designed 6mm. Now, if you wanted to spend the time and get a file, you could possibly file those flats down and make it Centratec friendly. That's all there is to it. Grub screw, there you go. All right. Reading, bit of snow, grub screw. Yeah, I would call it a grub screw. Yeah, all right. But see, the grub screw with an internal hexagonal drive. A lot of grub screws have just got a slot. So that's the word I was looking for. But thank you very much for the assistance. Now we've got a spring in there as well. Now that spring slides over the drill bit. That's easy. It's just like a biro, you know, like a click biro so far at this stage. Then we've got this little guy here. Now it's got a slot in it. It's got the countersink at the top, the little chamfer, and then it's also got a little flange that sticks out on the edge here. And it's designed to slide over the top of the drill, a neat fit, because if it's not a neat fit, the drill's going to wobble around. So it's got to be a pretty tight fit. The flange is to push against the spring and also to keep it centered in the housing part of the body of this drill. Okay, so what I did first, I noticed it was a bit sticky. So all I did was I just went like that for a little while. And then I thought, it works, but how to make it better? So I put it all back together, and you're going to think, how crazy is this? Now, I'm going to give you, for instance, what I have done before. I bought one of those ladders that, it folds out, and also it's got an arm that goes that, a leg that goes that way. It's in 4 pieces, and it's got these hinges. You release, you pull this little lever on it, and it folds out to a certain point. Pull it again, it folds out. Pull it again, goes all the way. They're very, very handy. They fold up, and it used to be great for me when I was, had a little mini moke. I used to keep this ladder in the back. It was very, very handy rather than having a big long ladder on the top of the machine. So, set screw, that's fine. That's fine, John, thank you. So anyway, back to the ladder. It was all aluminium, and it had these steel fancy hinges. Now, my dad used to know the name of these hinges, and he told me, but I've forgotten. So if you know the name of this hinge, that it's a 3-click to open it to 180 degrees, and then it folds back on itself in one motion. I found that after I owned it for about 6 months, these hinges were really a pain in the neck to use. So I put some oil on them. Who would have thought? Same thing here. So what I'm using this stuff, 3-in-1 oil. It's a product that works. And all I've done, gonna kick yourself. Parliament. Okay. No, Parliament hinges are designed to, they're a broad butt hinge, a Parliament hinge. So it comes out past. It doesn't have any ratcheting mechanism in it. Now, all you do, let's get the one we were with, put a little bit of oil just before the body, because that's where all the motion is. That's all you have to do, and rotate it whilst it hasn't gone down. Just hold on to the flats. Let it run, push it in a few times, make sure the oil gets in there, and then clean it off. Now don't put too much oil on it, because you don't want oil going in to your timber. Not that it's going to worry too much in a hinge situation, because no one's going to see all that. There you go. Now we have a cheap set. These things are $19 Australian for a set of 8. $2 each, something like that, $2.20. As I said, Prime on Amazon, delivered free. And they're giving away a free Prime subscription for 30 days as well. you don't have to renew it. So there you go. There's blatant advertising on my behalf, but also letting you know if you get a hold of these things, there's a quick fix. Don't throw them away. Now, the one that I use for my Euro screws, I got the 5mm and had to muck around with it, and I wasn't impressed. So I'm using the 11/64, because mostly this is an Imperial set, but they do have a 5mm as well. Now, why am I using the 11/64? 11/64 is so close to 4mm, it's not worth mentioning the difference. So I'm using a 4mm because I find that it goes in perfectly into any timber that I've tried it on. Now, I've tried it on melamine, I've tried it on MDF, great. Now, the thing is, when I'm putting the screws into one of these drawer slides, and this is a soft close drawer slide, and I love using the Euro screws in this because they don't go anywhere. The screws hold it strong. They don't move around at all. You've got the large hole here that it goes into, and we don't want it to go all the way through a 16mm piece of melamine. So the 16mm with the 5mm drill bit was punching through. Only just, but it was doing it. The 11/64 stops at the perfect depth for the Euro screws that I use. And I think I use an 11mm deep, and it's, that drawer slide is bigger than the workshop. It's a 600, so that's overall. So if I close her up, there she goes, soft close, 2 feet. These are great. So I've used this on the rolling cabinet that I built for the CNC. Oh, that reminds me, we're going to have a look at the CNC as well, only to show you the dust hose that I've used, because I had someone say to me the other day, Dave, what kind of hose should I use? The grey stuff is too stiff. Yeah, I agree, it is. So let's have a look now at some things from during the week. So we've got, this is a clamp rack. Remember, we had some fun with clamp racks. This is Rod's clamp rack. So he's got a chisel roll up the top, and he's got his clamps all around the rest of it. Thanks, Rod, for sending that in to me. And something else from the week, I did a little bit of pressure cleaning, and the difference is fantastic. See, I've got exposed aggregate, so it's little pebbles in the stuff. And where I live, it gets a lot of moss on it, especially under all the tree ferns there. So you can see the part in the foreground hasn't been cleaned. The stuff on the high side, I have cleaned it. We're in water restrictions at the moment, and I was very conscious of doing it, but I had to get it done when I had a free moment, because going into spring, all of those mosses would start growing really quickly. So I put a little sign up the front saying tank water used on this property. So for anyone that's walked past who might be watching the show, anyone that's walked past my place and thought, Dave, that's being really naughty, well, what do you do? What do you do? I bought a tank. I've got some solar panels on the roof. The pump that runs the water from the tank, totally powered by the sun. It was a beautiful day to do it. And the water, came from heaven, fell on the roof. I caught it. I can use it how I want. So it's, I had a few people give me looks. Not to worry. What else? During the week, also, I found this. Now, I don't know if this is John Lafferty's production or not, but this was in Aldi when I was going through the store yesterday. I enjoy doing the shopping. So I saw this and I thought, hello. John, is that yours? It should have had shed after it, shouldn't it? Don't forget, right, okay, and that drawer slide, yes. Well, in younger days, we climbed Mount Raptu, cold enough. Dave M., you are late, straight to the corner. What's the next thing we're going to do? Let's have a look at ripping with the bandsaw. And I'm going to show you a couple of things about how to tune your bandsaw a little bit better. Now, people have been saying, Dave, when are the videos that you're doing for Carbotech going to be released? Remember, they're not going to go on my channel. I have to draw that line that divides what I do for me and for you guys and what I do, under contract for Carbotech for their machines. So there's going to be a little grey area in the middle. I'm sorry about that. It's just, I'm only one person, so I can't totally separate myself from both situations. Okay, attack pigeons are dive bombing here on the Gold Coast. One in particular hit me about 10 times as a cycle. Attack pigeons. I'm guessing you're talking about magpies. Man, oh man, I guess it depends on what's happened to those. The magpies are very smart. So I think kids get in and throw rocks at magpies, go and try and steal eggs out of their nests. And this is what they do. They come straight back in and they say, you know, we're going to attack all of you guys because we don't trust humans at all. At my place, they walk in and just for men. Yeah, maybe I should start using that. I see some celebrities are starting to do that a little bit, but I haven't made comment. I don't want to embarrass them. So if you see my beard, moustache, and these silver bits on the side starting to go darker, that means I'm dumbing down because I'm going back to when I was younger. I'd rather keep the wisdom. See, this reflects wisdom and time on the planet. All right, what were we going to do? Bandsaw. And I think if you've got any issues using a bandsaw trying to rip straight or cross-cut straight, this might help you out. Let me switch the camera. And that one there, no, they don't want that one. Let's go to this one. I'm going to go down the other end, and you can see what's happening down there. All right. I'm nearly there. Oh, I found my run sheet. Look at that. I'm going to go and get my glasses. Give me a second. I'll be back in a flash. If I don't have my glasses, I might cut my hand off. All right. Sorry about the wait. Now, whilst I'm down this other end of the workshop, I can't see what's happening up on the screen. Now, you'll see on the table here, I've got a clothes peg, I've got a small clamp, deck of cards, miter gauge, a piece of wood, and a 1/2-inch spanner. And also on the insert there, that's one of John Lafferty's inserts that goes straight into these machines as well. So, you know, shameless plug again. Now, what we need to do first is take the rip fence off, which I've done. Move these guys out of the way, and that one out of the way as well. And we're going to set the miter gauge up. So pop the miter gauge in there, and I've set it at 90 degrees. This guy here, this is the trick. Underneath this table, there are 4 bolts holding the table onto the trunnion. I've released those 4 bolts by 1/2 a turn. So now I can do this. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it all the way around clockwise. Then I'm going to duck under here and I'm going to tighten 2 of them up. Come on. Now I don't take the trunnion off. I don't take the table off the trunnion, I should say. So that's all tight. I'm going to lower the assembly down. Now I don't have the saw plugged in at the moment. And this is very, very important. I'm hooked up to the dust extractor, but the plug is undone. And it's always a good idea to leave it sit there so you know that it's not plugged in. I keep on saying to people, in a fight between this blade and my fingers, the blade is going to win. That's all there is to it. So now I'm going to release the back, lower the assembly down. Now I've already set up my blade guides and my blade and all of that stuff. It is set perfectly to where this blade should be tracking. It tracks in the middle of the tires up the top. I've set the tension to the correct tension according to the book, and I'll show you the book straight away. Now this isn't in the older books. This is in the newer books. So this is where this grey area comes into play, because it's important if you've got one of these saws. So I have in there the 3/8 blade, which is 10 millimeters. Tension is 2 to 3. Now on the side of the saw, and I put that in the video that I did for them. On the side of the saw, let's see if you can see in there. See that? tension is 2 to 3, and that's adjusted by that. I'll bring it back to here. And now I'm going to plug the saw in, and I'm not going to use it without dust extraction, and I'm going to open up the dust port because it's one of those things, you know, if you use a machine without dust extraction, you're asking for trouble. That's all there is to it. I think everything is shut. I'm just checking around all of the dust ports, and then I have my dust extractor remote here. Don't you love it? Is it going to turn on? Yep. And you can hear it sucking away through there. And I'll put the eye muffs on. This is only a very short run. I've got the dust extractor running, so I'm not really going to be concerned about my own dust, a dust mask at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this and check the square. That's the first thing we've got to do. This thing stops in about 7 seconds. It's getting a square. Turn the dusty off. Drop that out of the way. Okay, so we have that cut. Put the square on it. It's not bad, but it's slightly, let me put it up to the light. It's very good, but it's slightly out. So this, I know where I was. I could have put a mark on here, but I know that I've got the furry part here, which means the blade came through that direction, and furry on the bottom, which means it was there. Now, when I put that to there again, I see that that might help you to see it. Let's put it around that way. You see I've got to push it up tight. We're very, very close, but I've got a bigger gap here than I do down here. So that means if I've got a bigger gap there than there, that I need to turn the table this way. I've got to turn it clockwise a little bit. So I'm going to do that very, very slowly and unplug the power. Hang it there like I said. Undo it. I only did up 2 of the trunnion bolts. You know, it's only a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, but it makes a huge difference when you're ripping. See, if you tune your saw up to start, you'll find, I said I had to turn clockwise a little bit, didn't I? There we go. You'll find that it makes such a difference. There's not a huge amount of play in those bolts, but there's sufficient to really put you out. I'm going to do 2 more cuts. I'm going to do it set perfect, like it is now. And then I'm going to do another cut. Plug it back in. I'm going to do another cut to show you how it can go out really bad. So if you've just assembled the machine without doing this, it's going to really show it. Turn it on. Pull it back a little. That's beautiful. All right, so that is spot on square. There you go. You're not going to get it much better than that. All right, so now I'm going to throw it out of square. Why would you? Because I just need to prove it to you that that's how it was. Now I also know where it sits at perfectly square. Turn this off. All right. So a 1/2 inch or a 13mm spanner is all you need. Now this is something that a lot of people don't bother. They just put the thing on and think it's right. I'm going to throw it out. See that? And that will give you a horrible rip. I'm going to tighten one of the trunnion bolts up just to, as I say, as a quick demo. There we go. That's holding steady. Turn the dusty on again. Pull this back. Let's have a look. Plug it in, David. Pick it up. Make sure it's turned off so it doesn't start up. It's got an NVR switch in it anyway, which is no voltage switch. All right. Let's have a look. Now can you see the gap down this end? It's not huge. I'll turn that dusty off. But it's enough. If I bring it all the way to the front, you might see it a bit better. Yeah, so there it is. You might be able to see the gap there. No gap here. Gap down there. It's about 1 millimetre. So I'm going to send it back to where it was. To where it should be, I should say. Like that. Tighten that. And that. And the ones at the back. I'm going to leave that one till after the show. Now, that's dead square to the miter slots. So what I need to do now is have a look at the fence. Pull the miter gauge off. Throw the fence on. Release this. Raise it up until we're above. Disconnect the power. Until we're above the fence. About there. And lock the fence. I'm going to bring it to about there and just clamp it. Now the first thing to do also is just to check that your rip fence is running parallel to the miter slot, because if it's not, you're not going to have any luck. So we need to undo those Allen keys there. And I think it'll be this one. Yep. So we're relaxing those. And then I should be able to move this around and get it square. Get it, as I say, get it parallel. Can you see that? I hope you can. So that's perfect there. Now, that, my friends, should be perfectly in line, parallel to the blade. If it's not, the blade's not going to cut straight for you. This is not a ripping blade, but it does a fair job. Let me have a look here. So we've got the cards. Now the reason I had a clothes peg here was because we're going to put this to behind the set on the teeth. If I bring it all the way to the front, the teeth have got set, you know, left and right, and they're going to tip the playing card that way. I want to put the card on this way, and this clothes peg that I got hasn't got much grab. It hasn't got the grab that this thing's got, so I'm just going to put that small clamp on, and you can see it there. and then I'm going to bring the fence up to the blade there, and it's showing that I'm running out a little bit. Let me have a look around the back here. I'll see if I can show you. Okay, can you see here and here? There's a gap at the back. I find a playing card's probably going to be the easiest way to show you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to release this again, because whilst it was tracking well to the miter slot, the blade, if the blade is any kind of angle, that's the direction it's going to want to go. So now I'm going to release this again. And pull it back along a little. And as I pull it back, I'm going to twitch it. There we go. Now that's as far as the travel is going to let me go on that, which is fine. And that's looking pretty good. That's a whole lot better than what it was. Let me see, that card might, see the card's got a little bit of movement there. That card might actually be bent. Let's have a look. Turn it over the other way, see if it does it, because that should counter it. How's that looking? Nearly. And it's pushing against it. Let's see how it goes. I can see the gap on it there. I'm not getting the pinch that I want. That's better. That is better. That's a better pinch there. All right, let's have a look at it. Whoop, raise this up a touch. That's a much better pinch. Let's see how it is for straight. Much nicer. Probably gone a little bit too far. This is one of those things you want to muck around with and make sure that that card is sitting on there very, very well. I need to back it off ever so slightly. I think that's it there. Perfect. The joys of live. That's absolutely beautiful. See that gap? That is magic now. That's what I was after. Now that should give me a nice straight rip. Let's have a look. Take that off. And relax this. Pull it back. Let's see, what have we got there? I'll rip this bit of cedar. Let's see how we go with that. There, lock it. I'm going to drop the assembly down. Yeah, so don't worry about all the mucking around that I did in between there. Just the important thing is to see the end result that we're going to have, and that is, that card wasn't telling me the truth right at the beginning. Okay, this and this. Let's see how it goes for ripping. I'm going to rip a section up to here and then I'm going to stop because I haven't got any push sticks with me right at the moment. This on and this on. Dust on. Now, you better work right. Here we go. You tell me. Is that a good result? A little bit of tweaking and your bandsaw is going to work beautifully. So there we go. That's that. All right, what's the next thing we're going to look at? We're going to look at polishing up the bullnose plane. I'm going to come down the other end, have a look, see if anyone's been giving me a hard time on the chat. And here we go. Transition. What do we got here? Something stiffing. Yeah, a credit card would work fantastic. Thanks for that, Bob. You got 5 push sticks on each hand, Dave. I like it. I like it. Laser cutting machine. All of a sudden, you came on. Credit cards have embossed letters and numbers. Yeah, look, it's a bit of mucking around. You'll be fine. There's some nice BANDSAW, but what a beautiful cut in the end. You know, it's just takes your time. Think outside the box a little bit. Don't think about the blade all the time. Now, one other thing I thought. We haven't finished the show, Nippy Pret. So one of the things I will show it moving around a little bit, but I'm not going to put the cutter in it, run it at the moment. No shop sign. Oh God, I'm in trouble, aren't I? All right. So, what a fantastic result. As I said, move that table around until it's perfect. Adjust your rip fence so it's dead parallel to the blade. And away you go. Sometimes you'll have to adjust the miter slots for doing cross-cutting work only. Other times, like if you set a jig up on top of it, you want to make sure that it's going to track at 90 degrees to the blade. The rip fence, you want to set up so that, you know, it's looking really nice. I haven't checked my rip fence back against the miter slot, but you know, it's a simple fix. And I know that there's a couple of people who have been saying that they can't get a straight cut with the rip fence. Well, that just showed you how easy it is. A little bit of thinking. Vision's gone a bit fussy since you got back to the bench. Yeah, it'll be fine. All right, 7-minute walk to the shop to get the paper. Okay. No on-air sign. Yep, that's correct. Correct. Okay, so the next thing we do, we've already covered the self-centering drill bits, covered the bandsaw. Let's go over there. I'm going to switch over to the other one, which is this one here, like so, and swing it around. Swing this camera around so we can see where we're at down there. All right. Vision now fixed. For vision fixes, refresh the screen if you want to. All right, so what we've got here, I love this. This is Arthur's bullnose plane. Now, how nice is it coming up? Last week, it looked like that. So I'm going to show you how I buff it. It's not hard. All right, first thing I've got to do is take the blade out. So I need a little piece of wood. And for people that aren't aware of how to remove blades from things like this, you hold on to the blade, and also there is a spot there you can tap into if you want to, but I find it easiest to use a piece of wood. And just, let's come up to the other camera, might be able to see it better. Yep, okay. We'll release that for a second. Come on, out of the way. Everything going everywhere. So you hold on to there and there. And release. A couple of taps, wedge comes out comes the blade. We're going to try and do a quick touch up on that blade as well. I also want to quickly grab, give me a sec, the run sheet for the day to make sure that I'm on top of things, which means a 5-mile walk around the back here to find it again. You guys see? Oh, there it is. Okay. All good. Found it. Okay. We may not get to do the carving today. Might have to leave that to next week. We will try and get to the CNC dust extraction. We've done the bandsaw ripping, self-centering drill bits. So let's hook in. All right. Bring this back this way, and I'm going to put the clamp back on it again. I've got the buffing wheel on it, and I clamp it to the bench. I've got the belt off it. I'm just going to use this and the polishing compound, which is this stuff here. As I've said before, this is a Veritas compound. Sorbies do their own, but I haven't used it. because I already have this one. I'm going to put the dust mask on because it can be a little bit dangerous without it. There we go. All right, I think we're plugged in. Turn her on, get some compound on till it goes green. I should get another one of those. Okay, there's the what do you think already? Pretty cool, isn't it? I don't think Sorby sell this for this purpose, but I don't have a polishing mop apart from this one. Didn't take too long, did it? Now, let me see if I've got a rag around here. Yep, I do. I'll bring her up here. So that's the side we've just worked on. Just a paper towel. Now also I get some build up in areas as well, like just here. Don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of build up. I use the special tool called the thumbnail, and I push it down over the top of the rag, and it tends to get rid of it pretty quickly. Okay, so again we're doing a mix of old and new. Okay, so easy now. You guys will all be, you could use some brass polish as well if you wanted to. You guys will all be getting around, going to men's sheds and things like that and saying, you know how to do a nice straight rip cut? Okay, so there we go. How nice is that little bullnose plane now? This was back in the day when the bullnose came all the way to the front. Veritas do one that you can remove that section, so you can use it as a chisel plane to get right to the end of a slot if you want to. All right, the next thing I was going to do was try and give it a quick sharpen. Let me see, over here. I'm not going to use the Sorby for this, I'm going to use the Triton. I need to put a bit of water in here. Disconnect, turn her on while I do this. So there you go. I turn the machine on and pour water in. Now I haven't used this for a while, so it's going to soak up the water big time into the stone. Whoop, too much, David, let it run. That's okay. Catch it as it runs off. That's okay. Pour more in. Soaked up a heap of it. That'll do. I'll bring this camera around this side a little and spin it to there. Now if the picture goes fuzzy while I'm doing this, Don't panic, just hit the refresh button and it should come up. Now what I'm going to do here, I'll see that you can see it all right. Yep. I'll move this one out of the way, which is this one here. Sorry for having my back to you. I'll move the Pro Edge right out of the way. See, I use both these machines a fair bit. Now, we've got, this is the blade out of the bullnose. Now, the back needs to be flattened a bit because I've not really had much to do with this blade, but I do know there's a couple of little slots there that need to be fixed. Now, how I flatten, the blade is, this stone is rotating this direction. So, as I say, sorry about my back being here. The blade is rotating this direction. I'm going to put this against the side of the stone. So I'm not having the stone turn towards me. Now there's all sorts of ways of doing this. You can use a lapping plate. You can use wet and dry paper on glass. You can use diamond or water stones to try and get the back flat. But I've got to tell you, this is the quickest way that I know and gives me the most even result. You know, a fair push against it, and it's like any oil stone or water stone, even wear on the stone is crucial. Otherwise you end with ridges and things like that, and next time you go to flatten something, it's not going to work. Let's have a look at that. Can you see where it's flattening it out? There and there. It hasn't got to the end yet. This is beautiful. So now, instead of putting even weight back here, I'm going to put more concentration where my finger is, and I'm pushing down hard towards the front of the blade. If it was a chisel, I've mentioned this before, if it was a chisel, I'd have equal weight right the way along the chisel on the back. So it's all flat, especially if I wanted the chisel for doing any paring work. Like this is fine. Planes don't rely on that. See that? That's a whole lot nicer now. Nearly there. We're there across that part, right across just the corner and this corner. So. Is this boring? This is one of the most relaxing things that I do in the workshop. I have the music playing, if I'm not doing a show or not doing a video for anyone. I have the music playing and I can think about things and I just lose myself in this kind of stuff. There you go, that's looking pretty good. A little bit more, just there. I'll push down a little bit harder there. Done. Beautiful. Okay, now, this direction, I'm not going to use a guide. I'm just going to go. I'm using my finger as a guide. So I've grabbed hold of the shaft of the blade. See there? This was my guide against the bar there. And does it work? Seems to be doing the job, nearly there. I'll pull it back ever so slightly. Is that there? Now with this stone, just check the time, we're good. With this stone, it was running up and down. So what I did was I took the stone off and I found that there was a couple of thou clearance or tolerance between the inside of the stone and the axle of the machine. So I put one rotation of electrician's, electrical tape, and then tightened it up. And didn't it come up well? There's no wobble on it whatsoever. We're getting there. A little bit more on that side. Now these blades are important to get them as accurate as possible. He says while he's doing this freehand. Because there's only a certain amount of play that I can adjust it with when I put it back in the plane body. That's why these have they have a skinny shank here, so that you can move them backwards and forwards so that the bottom is perfect. Okay, nearly. I can feel it. When you put it on the stone, when you're doing it freehand like this, you can feel the grind. That's done. All right, turn her off. I'm going to swing it now. I'm going to strop it. That's pretty fine. I'll give it a quick run on this. Baby oil, where are you? Open this one up here. Okay, so again, we may not get through everything that I said we would, but we got through two things, and we're actually on the third. Now with these, it's an interesting thing. If you get one of these, I haven't done it yet, because I rarely use this. Well, on this one I haven't used it. What you do is you put a little bit of baby oil on this to start. To condition it, the strop. Before you put any compound on it. It'll soak it up. This is just a leather wheel. That's looking pretty good. And then we've got this polishing compound. That'll do. Vicky will be saying, why aren't you wearing gloves? Doesn't really need it at this stage. So, with stropping, make sure the wheel is turning. There's a little thing here that says with the direction. So, that's getting wicked sharp. Turn her off. And a hand strop right at the end. All right, I'm going to just come down to the other screen, spin this back around. Oh, it's nearly time already. I can't believe it. How quickly has that gone? Sorry about that, guys. I get lost with things and I become absorbed, consumed. There we go. All right, so where's the paper towel? Right here. And shall we give it a test as to how sharp it is? A little bit of a paper test. that. And where is it, David? Where did I put it? Found it. Don't panic. Paper, of course, like I said. Oh, who wants to know who won the 3 Carvatech Japanese saws? It's an Australian, as I said last week. A lot of entries. Let's see if it works. Okay, here we go. That looks pretty sharp to me. It's not hard. If you blink, you will miss it. Yep. John, Woodworker 2. Hey, from Virginia. G'day, buddy. How are you? So I'm going to pop this back in here. Now, these are a bevel down. I'm pretty sure they're a bevel down. Oh, no, it might be a bevel up, this one. I've got to check. Where are my other ones? I think they're all bevel down. Shoulder planes and bullnose. Here's the other 2 guys. I showed you last week that I cleaned up the big fellow. Bevel up. Sorry. No, it's perfect. Yes. Okay, so bevel up. So you turn it sideways. Okay, so instead of being flat, you turn her over on its edge. Slide her in without damaging anything and drop it in, and it's the same as anything like this. You put it on a piece of wood, push down on the blade itself down here, just there, and make sure it's centered. So you slide it down and it will find its own kind of centering. So I mean, when I say centering, parallel to the sole of the plane. Put the wedge in. And there we have it, and it just needs to go across slightly. That's pretty nice. Let's see if it works. I'll put one of John's, well, I pop this down here so you can see what's happening. Tip that down a touch. No, I won't. I'll bring it up to this one. Here. Pop that in there. Let's see if it'll work. Blade needs to come through just a touch. That works. There you go. Shaving. It's probably a little deep because I was having to force it a bit. But now I'm going to have to make sure when I pick this up that I don't treat it as familiarly, is that a word, as I used to. So it's going to go back in its little, I don't know, is this a felt or, it's not leather, but this is how they used to look after their gear. I think it's that way around. And then there's a little press stud. Come on. You know, that was my run sheet I just cut then, and the winner. So I don't know if I'll be able to tell you. There we go. So that's where it lives, and I'm sorry I didn't get the rest of the stuff done. Didn't get to the carving. Look, let's do the carving next week. So we've done the bullnose plane, CNC dust extraction. I'll do a quick one down there, and the winner. What? I think he works there. He's about 5 minutes from home. Chicken capital of Otago. Does it smell? Funny things you guys talk about. I'm going to spin the camera around because there was a question. I don't want to let someone down because they have asked the question. So the question was, what kind of hose do you use on your CNC machine? I probably will talk about this more next week. But, sorry, I'm going to tip that up. The cable got caught underneath. So, there we go. This is the stuff I use. It's a clear hose. It's super flexible. And also I've got a rotating collar up here as part of the setup. So when the machine is traveling backwards and forwards, if I'm over one side or it's going over to the other side of the machine, it has this, as I say, it's a rotating socket that goes on the thing. I think this is a Dust Right socket from Rockler. So I have that in the center, I have this flexible hose, and I have a 4-inch PVC pipe, runs up and over to the outside, and I have it connected via there. There you go. So it runs by wireless. So John, I'm hoping that's answered your question for you. I'll bring this one back. And we've got people coming here this afternoon to have a look at all of this. I've got Blue Mountains and Penrith Woodworking Club coming up this afternoon, and a couple of locals. So I'm going to have a busy afternoon. You forgot the transition. I'm an idiot. There we go. Look, I'll do it again. I'm sorry. What? I was panicking at the end of the show. Here we go. There we go. All right. So, up a little. I hope you can see everything now. There you go. So I have a rotating dust collar. I feel like a turkey. I've got a rotating dust collar up here. As I say, it's a Rockler Dust Right, I think is what it's called. And then I have the Superflex hose that comes down to the head here. John is looking at making a new dust boot, magna boot, that will be locking onto the back of the machine here, and the spindle will travel up and down inside that, turning the dust extractor on, using this again, so you can hear it sucking up through there. I'm going to put that there. I feel like a turkey. I hope you saw all that. Oh dear. It's one of those days. As I say, I've got all these people coming and I'm focusing on other things. All right. You do need a Stanton bench because they're just so good. They work brilliantly. This is the thing I use more than anything. You know, I've got Arthur's big heavy bench here. I use that for when I want to smash things around, heavy stuff, but most of the time I'm using this. It's so quick and convenient. If I'm using the track saw, I'm normally using it on this because it's dead accurate. It's accurate to 3 microns. That's how I make them on that machine. That's why. There you go. Age is such a bugger. Yeah, so ask the guys that have bought them from me or bought the plans. They're magic. Absolutely, it's a great bench. I haven't done a video on the bench for a while. I should really do it. It has an apron down the front. Everything is perfectly in line. If your accuracy is your game, and if you don't have a workshop or if you don't have an area that's dedicated, this can go on a kitchen bench, can go on a table in the house, dining room table, an antique table. It's not going to bother it. Work away, enjoy yourself. It undoes, breaks in half, slide under a bed, and it's out of the way. Winner chicken dinner. Well, winner of the Carbotech saw is not you, Peter. Not you. It's Oliver Young. Oliver, you are the winner of the 3 saws. So it's the 2 Japanese pull saws that open up. One's a heavy-duty pruning style saw. The other one is a fine detail saw. And you've also got the flush cut saw. I will send you an email later on this afternoon or this evening when I get a chance. And I hope you enjoy the product. And as I said, Carbotech have got something that I'm going to have a chat to them about. And if you like one of their jet machines, you need to keep tuned to me. All right. Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching. Let me just quickly check what we've done here, the CNC dust extraction. I'll show you the little machine outside that I use. This is the little 1 horse. I possibly will upgrade it to a 2 horse because it just needs that extra amount of grunt. But I'm going to wait until John does that Magna boot for me. And no pressure, John. We'll see how it goes. All right, I love the design, and yes, I'm process of building an 8x4 workbench, but may get your design and add it to the end of it. Fine. Fine. All right. John, Larry, congrats. Oliver, everyone's saying congratulations, Oliver. Bye all. Keep it safe. Let me see what we've got here. Intro and text. Have a nice day. As I say, I've got this group coming this afternoon, and I just wasn't focusing on what I was doing. I hope the tips I gave you about adjusting your table on the bandsaw help you out. I hope that my little demo with the bullnose plane, sharpening it with the Triton, also, you saw it work beautifully. And it's nice and sharp, slice through that paper. And also the, what else did I do? Oh, that's right, these guys. Now, if you want any of these things, by all means, check in the description box below where it says show more, click on that, and it'll throw up the links. If you want to grab some stuff, by all means, knock yourselves out. It helps the show and keeps me coming back week after week. It's been nearly 6 years. I haven't missed a day. Thanks for watching, and I shall see everyone next week. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other. Bye.